Okay, but now the light is like actually shining directly in my eyes, which makes me sad. I'm gonna like scooch over a tiny bit. Okay, I'm quickly recording this like intro because the lighting, like it wasn't bad, but it was like piercing into my eyes and I couldn't see. So I wanted to re-record directly to your face. My name is Morgan. I am a personal brand photographer. Here's my intro to this channel, my history of where I started in my business as a wedding photographer all the way to becoming a personal brand photographer, why I'm starting this channel, what I'm going to be teaching on this channel, and so much more. Hello everyone. My name is Morgan Potter and welcome to the channel. This is my first official video. I honestly wasn't even gonna record today and like the light isn't ideal, but I'm deciding that just putting the camera on and recording is more important right now. Also, I love me some 4 p.m. late afternoon sunlight. It's like my favorite time of day. So although I am going to be taking a more, I guess if you want to call it like a casual approach to my videos in terms of how I'm filming, I'm always going to make sure that they are full of content that is going to help you become the most amazing brand photographer that you could possibly be, and personal brand photography specifically. So I've been a personal brand photographer for the past 5 years of the 8-year life of my photography business. It has been a wild ride, especially when I think of how I started out shooting weddings and families and pet portraits. You all know, you all been through the journey too, I'm sure. Okay, so honestly, I just decided to change up my entire filming setup because it was bothering me. I really wanted to be able to film in the like glowy afternoon sunlight because I don't know about anyone else, that literally just like fuels me. It gives me energy. But anyways, oh gosh. But for my story, my journey, I started out in 2017. I took a course, Amy and Jordan's shooting and editing course, which I highly recommend if you were coming here from a place of completely starting a photography business from scratch. I'm not the person to teach that to you. I like to kind of focus more on the niche areas of personal brand photography, but Amy and Jordan are fantastic. Would highly recommend their course. I took that course. I was still in college by the end of it. Actually, I had just graduated. I think it was my first year after. No, I graduated in 2015. What am I talking about? I was after college. I was still living in a college town. I was living with all of my college roommates who were all still in school. I was older than all of them, but they were all graduating. So it was great practice to be able to start shooting basically senior portraits. And they all like hated me having like, please. They're all guys too, which not saying that's a stereotype, but none of them wanted to have their photo taken. So I kind of pride myself on getting through those really tough first few clients. I did it for free, but I shot all of their graduation photos. I eventually went into shooting families and wanting to do weddings. And that was kind of around, I want to say 2018 when I really started to get into weddings. And then end of 2019, I had this just, I want to call it like an epiphany, or just, it actually happened again, which I'll tell a little bit later about that, but quite recently, where all of a sudden I was just like, I'm done with this. I hate weddings. I don't want to do them anymore. I think that there is very, a unique skill set involved with weddings, and I admire anyone who really loves to do that, but it just wasn't for me. It was all feeling like the same. I just personally don't really vibe with the idea of weddings and even marriage necessarily. That's a whole other conversation. That's just me personally though. So there was a lot of misalignment with that career choice. But the one thing that I did really like doing when I was working those weddings was working with the other business owners. So the florists, the vendors, the wedding planners, the DJ. I really liked making those connections. So around the end of 2019, when I was making that decision to go into something else, I was just stuck with this thought of, I really like photography, but I don't want to do weddings, and I don't want to do families, and I don't want to do senior portraits or headshots. Like, I didn't want to do any of those. So it was kind of like a deep, like, I want to call it this, it was almost like a breakdown, but like a refining of myself. I was journaling a lot. I was taking courses to see what I might like. I was just doing all this research and pouring out my heart and trying to really tap into what I really wanted. And I've gotten much better at that over the years, but back then I just was like, I don't know, everything has to be perfect, and it's not. Long story short, let me know if you want the full video on that and what I did. But I eventually was on Instagram just one day, early 2020, like January. And I was doing all of this at my part-time job, by the way. I was working 3 part-time jobs back then, plus my business. So I was working 4 jobs. But thankfully the one job is a videographer. I had lots of downtime. So during this job, I was doing all this research and I was on Instagram. And all of a sudden I'm scrolling by and I'm like, wait, who's taking all of the photos for these other photographers that I'm following? Like what's that called? What is that called? So people like Jenna Kutcher and Amy and Jordan and Caitlin James, all very big names in the photography industry, especially weddings. I was like, they have people taking photos of them too. Like, can I get a job doing that, basically? So I looked into it more, and I think the term was still very new at that point. Personal brand photography and branding photography. So I'll do a whole other video on this, so be sure to watch that here if you want like a better reasoning and definition of it. But there's a difference between branding and personal branding, in my opinion, and how I present it on this channel. Riffing off on the spot here, personal branding is when a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, one person who runs their business like so many of us are, is the face of the business, and they use their personality to market the business. Personal branding. And that is literally essentially just me showing up as the face of my business, and people fall in love with who you are and your personality and not just your work. There's a really great example that I like to share. It takes a little bit of time to tell though. So again, watch that video if you want a better understanding of personal brand photography and personal branding. But personal brand photographer was what it was called. I was like, oh my God, that is my calling. Like I immediately knew it's going to connect me to those other entrepreneurs, those other business owners like I was meeting in the wedding industry, but I get to help them, and I get to help them grow their businesses and to make more money. And I, in turn, get to have a job where I have so much more freedom in my schedule. Like I can make my own schedule whenever. I never have to work on the weekends again. I never have to work on the weekdays again, or weekday evenings. I have the capacity to make so much more money because I am selling to other business owners who are making this as an investment in their business, not just like a for fun purchase like weddings or family portraits would be. And I've just naturally always been a very creative person. So having that ability and being able to use that creativity to help people tap into their brands and to design their brand shoots and creatively direct their brand shoots for them. So I know you do not need to be creative in order to be a personal brand photographer, but it just happened to suit my needs, or not my needs, but like my innate talents, I guess you want to call it, and my joy for creativity and art and design. So I just knew that it was like perfect for me. It was checking all of the boxes. So I went into it. I made this whole plan. I kind of just quit cold turkey. I made this, you can find it on my Instagram somewhere, I'm sure, just this video of me just being like, hey, I'm not doing weddings anymore. I am going to leave it up to the people who really enjoy doing that. I'm still finishing it out with my current clients, but I'm not accepting any new clients. I just made that shift immediately and said I was going to be a personal brand photographer, and I was going to be helping women-owned businesses, so female entrepreneurs who had creative service-based businesses was like my original niche, but I ended up photographing like everyone because it's so fun, to help bring their brands to life with photography. And of course this was, I want to say, what was this? This was, I think it was very early March. So, 2 weeks before COVID. So that was a great, not that we could have planned there for that, but you know what I mean. But again, long story short, I made that announcement. COVID happened and I was feeling really restricted as to like, oh God, I've made this huge shift and I can't even like do anything with it. I ended up doing like a pre-sale for initial photo shoots that I could do once we could shoot in person or do distance shooting, or later on. I will make a whole video on that eventually too, of what I suggest you doing to market yourself and kind of to break into the personal brand photography industry and how to get your first few clients. That will definitely be another video. So check here, or be sure to search it on my channel for when it comes out in the future. But eventually we were able to start shooting, I think in like July, distance shooting, which was great. I was like, I just used my zoom lens for everything, and we were able to shoot safely in public there. And I had my first few clients, but that first year was amazing of 2020. I only shot for the last 6 months of the year and I tripled my income as a personal brand photographer. I will definitely be making lots more videos on how you're able to charge more as a personal brand photographer and pricing and all of that good stuff. So don't worry about that. But my business just kept growing from there. In the last 5 years, it's been growing bigger and bigger. In the last year or so, I really just had this feeling that was calling me towards education, to doing exactly what I'm doing right now. My very first freaking video on YouTube. I guess as a photographer. I have a K-pop YouTube reaction channel. Just side note, I love Stray Kids, the group, the K-pop group. So like I'm not new to YouTube, but I am in this capacity. But it's kind of surreal to like finally be here and taking action on that next evolution of my business and that next dream of mine. So here I am making moves. I am really, really excited about being able, I have so much information about personal brand photography in my head. I could talk about it for days, and that's what I'm going to do with all of these videos. Please introduce yourself in your comments if you are new here. Let me know what industry you're in right now, whether you're already in personal branding and it's not really working out for you, or you want to get better at it, or maybe you are thinking about transitioning and becoming a personal brand photographer, because I'm helping with all of you. But I would love to meet you in the comments, and please let me know if you have any specific questions about process, about workflow, about how to handle clients, how to creatively direct, how to shoot indoors. Like, these are all ideas I already have, but I would love to know if you have any specific questions that I can answer. So whatever you're doing right now, most of my videos are going to be coming from a place of or aimed towards photographers like you who already have their own business, own photography business, who kind of know the basics of running one and how to shoot. I won't be teaching very much about like basic camera settings or anything like that. I'll of course do tips on shooting, especially like indoor shooting or as it pertains to brand photography. But just to clarify, so the plans for this channel is I am going to be making probably one video a week for now. That might change. I'm also planning on making a bunch of free resources for you all in addition to this video content. I'm also going to have paid content too. I have an amazing course, Become a Badass Brand Photographer, which you can find the link down below. I understand that watching like one video of mine is probably not going to get anyone to invest in it, but if you watch a lot of my content and you're finding it really valuable, that course deep dives into everything that I talk about here, and will set you up for success for sure, whether you are transitioning into becoming a personal brand photographer, or even if you already are one and just want to level up in that capacity. So I'm really excited about this, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you are all in for learning how to make the most awesome brand photography business you possibly can. And you know, give this video a thumbs up if you think it was fun and interesting. I guess I didn't really share anything educational in this one, but yay for vibes, right? Or maybe you just like for tortellini. Isn't she pretty? She's my sister's cat. My sister is in Vietnam right now, and I will be following her on Thursday for a little bit. Little pigs are going to be lonely, but oh, she didn't like that. I'm sorry I woke you from your nap for a YouTube video. That was kind of rude. Anyways, all, that's my first video. Look forward to more, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Nobody told me my necklace was showing. God. I'm trying to let go of perfectionism. Sometimes it's a little difficult.